Good morning, students. Welcome to Zoology webinars of Model School for Senior Inter. Children, in the first year, when you have entered the intermediate course, you would have learned about the first chapter, stating what is the importance of zoology, what is the need for classification, how many branches are there. In that, you learned about what are the use of learning the zoology in the course. You have learned about career options such as various sectors of zoology. It's zoology doesn't mean it's only about the learning about the animal species and their existence. It's all about the how we have evolved, isn't it? So here in this chapter, that is applied biology, you'll be learning more interesting things. Suppose you aim for a medicine, and in the medicine you have a number of options becoming a scientist and a doctor, a super specialist, isn't it? But when you're not aiming for, see, all won't become doctors, isn't it? So in the doctor options, you have n number of options, isn't it? So this is the one part. The see, a nomadic, he is to one place to another for the search of food or for the shelter. Wherever the water is there, he used to stay, he started cultivation and all those stuff, isn't it? But when the settlements have started, farming came into existence. And slowly, along with him, wherever he used to go, he used to take few animals. So slowly, few of the animals we started domesticating them. All animals have become integral part of our existence, isn't it? Because previously man used to eat only animals, isn't it? Slowly, the cultivation, animal husbandry, all these things came and they become integral. Now, why I'm telling all these things? When the man started evolving all these hundreds of years, the population of Earth is very, very small. Now, the population has exploded like anything. But do you think that same animal number is existing so that we can supply food to all? No. The population has increased. At the same level, even we have to increase the food demand also, isn't it? So, what the man has learned from the nature and by doing his own technique is he has applied his knowledge in breeding up the animals for his own food, isn't it? So the applied biology started evolving from nomadic people. Now we talk a lot about the applied biology in this chapter. Now Prashanti madam will be explaining you about all in detail. But what you have to do is before you start, when madam is telling about your career options, please concentrate. When madam is explaining about each and every career options, you just go through and learn what are the basic things you have to make as a record in your brain. Once you tell your brain to record it anything, it will record. If you won't say anything, just do in a simple sentence I can say that be the masters of your brain. You're not like slave for your brain. You're the master. Whatever you say, the brain will listen. So record in the brain what are the other career options than the medicine. Okay, because you are at the like now you have to write all the competitive exams in the future. This chapter is very, very useful, and you have very vast applications here. You can grow like very fastly in certain fields. So please be concentrate, and the first thing is always I say that please take the pen and the notes which you are maintaining for the zoology exclusively for second year webinars. So please start writing the notes, and I think I'm talking more. Let us continue the session. Let us be welcome madam. Good morning, Prashanti madam.
Good morning, madam.
Yes, madam. Prashanti madam, she is a PGT. She is from Chigurumamidi from Karimnagar districts. We welcome you, madam. Please take over the session.
Yeah. Good morning, children. Good morning, madams, coordinator madam. Today I am here before you all to teach applied biology. First, we shall speak about population. That is, the group of the people at a place is called as population. Here, I am giving you all a pictorial representation, that is a handful of people and a large crowd of people. Yes. When you see the handful of people, they are having sufficient amount of food. Then is the little amount of food sufficient to the huge crowd of people? No, absolutely no. Yeah, madam was also saying about the population place our India is taking. India occupies second place in population. So there is a necessity to enhance the food production also. The food production should meet the needs of the people. This is what the survival of the existence is being said even by Charles Darwin. This is being learned in the evolution chapter. The enhancement of food production is necessity to sustain the increasing population in the near future. Food gives energy. Children, we eat food to do different activities like painting, playing games, doing different types of works. Then, what is the food of human beings? We take fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairy. Let's see some food what we take. We take food, that is vegetables from plants, meat from the animals, and also we take milk from the dairy. We eat mushrooms, that is the useful microorganisms having good nutritive value. We take eggs, that is from the poultry, and also we get cheese from the dairy products. So these are the different food items we eat. Just see this food pyramid, students. What comes into your mind? That is, we take both plant products and animal products. Not only humans, plants and animals also require food. So, in order to enhance food production for the animals and plants, various strategies are being adopted. Let's see into one of the strategy, that is animal husbandry. Animal husbandry, this is the branch of agriculture which deals with breeding, raising livestock, along with poultry farming and fisheries. These all comprise of animal husbandry. Animal husbandry caters to the needs of growing population. It includes different types of occupations like poultry farming, cattle farming, beekeeping, etc. So they also work with the people and also the animals. There are n number of opportunities, children. Those who study animal husbandry perfectly, you can settle well in your life. Like farm manager, you can become a research assistant, entrepreneur, animal husbandry technician. You can become a subject matter specialist, a postgraduate teacher, animal husbandry officer. You can also settle in stud farms, poultry farms, rabbit farms, veterinary hospitals. You can also work in wildlife sanctuaries, animal husbandry clinics, aviaries, zoological parks, dairy farms, and universities. Not only this, you can also settle in both central, national, international levels like National Dairy Development Board, Veterinary Council of India, Indian Council for Agricultural Research, State Animal Husbandry Department, Central Cattle Breeding Farm, and Indian Forest Services. So there are many opportunities. Where there is a will, definitely there will be a way. So children, pay attention to your studies and get settled in your life. This is the various animals we are seeing in this picture, students. Animal breeding. This is a selective mating of animals. That is over here, livestock. What is livestock? Livestock refers to domesticated animals like buffalo, sheep, horse, pigs, and cat, camels, duck, chicken, turkey, hens. These are all being domesticated. Then who will rear them? It is the human who rears these domesticated animals for their personal benefit. What do you see in this picture? That is fish in the water, and the picture that is who are catching the fish. What is this called as? It is called as fisheries. This is also a part and parcel of animal husbandry. Next comes dairy farming. Dairy farming, that is an important, that is agriculture business, important for yielding good amount of milk. The storage and the transport is a prerequisite for dairy farming. This is the rearing of the domesticated fowls, that is for eggs and for meat. This is called as poultry. Next comes, that is giving a quality feed and selection of the good breed, planned breeding, free of diseases, and taking good care towards the animals. So this is all required for the management of farm and farm animals. Yes, a professional approach is being required for the farm management, and this gives an edge to the traditional approach. When you see our Indian population, India occupies a second place. Not only in the population, we are good in agriculture and also livestock. But when you see the livestock here, it occupies, that is 70% of the world population livestock. Not only India, also China is having a very good position. But to how much we are contributing to the world farm produce? It is very less. It is only 25%. Okay, students, then it is then inferred that the productivity per unit livestock is very low compared to the other countries. So what we have to do then? That is, we have to apply new technologies to achieve improvement in quality and productivity. So we shall go forward, children. This is the management of the animals and its products for human consumption called dairy farm management. Let's see into dairy farm management. The most important is, that is the dairy, they produce large quantities of milk. Then how is the milk taken out? It is called as milking, which is being done from the olden days with the help of hand, that is manually, not only by the hand. Nowadays, the milk is being taken or collected by using, that is machines. So there is a special room for the collecting. These are called as milking parlors. And you see, nowadays, women are also playing an important role in selling milk products. That is, women are also getting good employment in dairy farms. This is the cattle, students, and these are the animals which are reared for giving milk. What are they called? They are called as dairy animals. And not only dairy animals, we find animals which are useful for agriculture and also for transport. What are they called? They are called as draught animals. So both dairy animals and draught animals, these are included in cattle, which is being studied under cattle farming. In this picture, what do you observe? Yes, we observe really yummy food, that is ice creams, cheese, butter, etc. From where do we get? These are all the dairy products, that is from the milk. Dairy farm, this produces or it provides different types of jobs children, like milking, caring, cleaning, feeding, caring, and the transport of the milk and the animals. And a person can make good money by dairy farming and income in all seasons to the farmers. So it provides a very good occupation to the people. Milk giving capacity of the cattle should be increased. That is, it has to feed the calves. Not only the calves, even infants also take milk. So, milk is being taken by the infants and also by the children. Milk is being considered as indispensable food. To increase the quality and quantity of the milk, that is lactation period, technical innovation and modern management methods are required. Indian dairy industry has witnessed fantastic growth, that is by the major person, that is Crane. He is the pioneer of the White Revolution in India, which is otherwise called as Operation Flood, which has taken place in the year 1970. This operation aimed to increase the milk grid, that is increase of the milk production. He is being called as the White Revolution father in India and also the milkman of India. Right now, today, India is having the world's largest milk production place. Selection of breed. Whatever we do, any type of business under animal husbandry, breed selection is first of all a main priority. The next comes a good shelter, a good feed, giving storage, and a regular doctor checkup. These are the essential components of good dairy farm management. Here I am introducing to you all two breed varieties, Sahiwal and Ongole. Sahiwal, this is a good best breed in that is of India and Pakistan. It gives nearly 30 liters of milk per day. Next comes the Ongole breed of Prakasham district of Andhra Pradesh. This is one of the costliest bull, and here these are the other good breeds. So selection of a good breed is important before we start dairy farming. Here these are exotic breeds. Exotic means other than our country are called as exotic. So here Holstein Friesian cow. This has been originated from northern Holland. It is a very large size. Just see the appearance, students. It is having large black and white spots here and there. And it is having highest milk production, that is 50 liters of milk per day. Next comes the Jersey cow. This is the British breed, and it is small sized and it is having white marks, that is a very less white marks here and there. And this is the brown Swiss. This breed belongs to America. So these are all, that is Holstein Friesian cow, Jersey cow, and brown Swiss. These are all the exotic breeds. The next one is housing, that is providing good shelter. This requires good fresh water and giving a comfortable place with good lighting and ventilation. Walking surface should provide, that is sufficient traction to avoid slippery. Next comes, that is cattle feed. The cattle feed, this emphasizes the quality and quantity of the feed. And this is consisting of roughages and micronutrients. Let's see by what the cattle is being feeded. So it includes, that is, dry grass, maize pellets, wet, that is bran, and also a good amount of water and wheat. So these are all given to the cattle to give good amount of milk. White milking, that is done by the hand, as I have already said, and also by the machinery. And afterwards, storage at a place, and later transportation. So these are all prioritized, and cleanliness and hygiene are of paramount importance. And the doctors should regularly check up the animals. And the doctors who check the animals are called as veterinary doctors, and a regular visit by the veterinary doctor is necessary, and regular inspections helps to identify the problems of the animals. Next, one of the important aspects of animal husbandry is animal breeding. What is a breed? What is breeding? Breeding refers to the animals having same appearance, behavior, etc. Let's take some examples. Popular breeds like Jersey cow, Leghorn hen. These are all the popular breeds we know. Then what is breeding? Applying genetic principles to animal husbandry, agriculture, horticulture is called as breeding. Animal breeding is the mating between the animals. Then why animal breeding should be done, or why it is important? It is important as it gives different products like meat, milk, eggs, fiber, etc. Here, the superior quality animals both are being mated to produce a superior offspring. What are the objectives of animal breeding? That is strong resistance to various diseases, increase of milk, meat and wool, that is in both quality and quantity, higher growth and larger productive life, fast maturity and economy of the feed. These are the main objectives of animal breeding. What are the methods of animal breeding? Animal breeding is classified into two types. They are inbreeding and outbreeding. Inbreeding, that is mating between the animals of same species, is called as inbreeding. Then what is outbreeding? Outbreeding is the mating between unrelated animals, that is outbreeding. So let's see one after the other. Inbreeding. Here, animals of the same breed. Just see students, animals of the same breed are being mated. And here when you see, that is, they are having the common ancestors for 4 to 6 generations. These are being mated to produce a better offspring. So here superior male is being mated with the superior female. Okay, they of the same breed. They are identified and mated and they produce the offspring. Then how will be the offspring? Yes, it will also be a superior. So superior offspring is being produced by mating between superior male and superior female. Let's see with an example. Crossing between, that is the superior female. Means it should have some specific characters, that is cow, buffalo. Cow or buffalo, here the specific character it is producing a good amount of milk per lactation. And this is being crossed between superior male, that is a bull, and here this is being as a draught animal, that is used for agriculture and transport. So when you cross between a cow and a bull, we get an offspring with both the superior qualities. Here. So let's see the scientific names also, students. We commonly refer these as cow and buffalo, but let's see even the scientific names. The scientific name of cow is Bos indicus and the scientific name of buffalo is Bubalus bubalis. When the cow that is been crossed or mated with buffalo, we get the offspring that is Bos. So this Bos get both the superior qualities of cow and buffalo. Let's see into the different types of inbreeding. They are close breeding and line breeding. Close breeding, that is the mating between male and female having more than one common ancestor, that is called as close breeding. Once again, I repeat, children, mating between male and female that is having more than one common ancestor is close breeding. Line breeding. And line breeding is mating between the animals having only one common ancestor. That is called as line breeding. We can also call it as cousin mating. What are the advantages then in inbreeding? Inbreeding increases homozygosity. That is, we get a pure line of animals, and also by this, the desirable characters, what we want, are being expressed, and harmful characters are eliminated. And that is, by the regular breeding, the productivity is also increased. Not only advantages, there are also a few disadvantages in inbreeding, children. That is over here, as already said, some harmful characters or harmful recessive genes are also expressed. Then how are they eliminated? They are eliminated by continuous breeding. But by the continuous breeding, the fertility is being reduced and the productivity is also reduced. This is termed as inbreeding depression. Okay, so the major disadvantage of inbreeding is inbreeding depression. That is, it loses its effectiveness after few generations of continuous breeding. So in order to overcome this, that is, outbreeding has come. Outbreeding, that is, refers to the breeding of unrelated animals. It might be of the same breed or of different breeds or of different species. But here it is seen that animals don't have ancestors for 4 to 5 generations. What is the advantage of outbreeding? By outbreeding, we can overcome inbreeding depression and also improve the growth rate and also increase the lactation period, and it gives high milk production. Let's see to the types of outbreeding. There are outcrossing, crossbreeding, and interspecific hybridization. Let's see the first one, outcrossing. Outcrossing, this is mating of animals is allowed within the same breed. Just see, students, it is within the same breed, but no common ancestor for 4 to 6 generations. And the offspring is called as outcross. So unrelated animals that is having the superior qualities are crossed. So by outcrossing, fertility and productivity are restored. Next type is crossbreeding, that is mating of the animals of superior quality belonging to different breed. These are being mated called as crossbreed. Here, some superior characteristics are taken into consideration, like for example, a superior male having good heat tolerance and also disease resistant, mated with a superior female. having high milk production. So this gives rise to the offspring that is of the dominant characters of both the animals. So here in this example, this is the crossing of the sheep varieties, that is Bikaneri Eves and Merino Rams. This gives rise to a new sheep breed, that is Hizardale. Hizardale, this is the sheep breed developed in Punjab. Here, this is Bikaneri Eves. This is being crossed with Merino Rams. So this gives rise to the offspring's children, Hizardale. So this type of crossings, these are asked even in your competitive examinations, like what type of cross it is, or what is the offspring produced when it is being crossed. Here, this is the red Sindhi bull that is having high lactation period, and over here, this has been mated with a Jersey breed, which is having high disease resistance. So this gives rise to the offspring that is Jersind. When you take a cross between zebra and horse, so when zebra, horse are mated, it gives rise to the offspring Zors. Zebra male is being mated with the horse female. So it gives rise to the offspring that is Zors. Yes. Zors, this is seen in Colombia. This is a very sturdy and hardy animal. This is used as a working animal for the transportation of goods. Though it is sterile, yet it is having a good importance. It is also used as a tourist attraction in zoos all around the world even today. Desired qualities of two different breeds, that is both superior male and superior female, these are combined, and the hybrids will have good commercial value, and these are further subjected to inbreeding and selection to develop stable breeds. The next comes, that is not only in the animals, we find crossbreeding even in the birds' children, that is crossbreeding between the egg-laying birds or the hens, and also between the meat-giving broilers. Here, one male is kept with 10 to 15 female in a room called as pens, and they are allowed to mate. And the other popular crossbreeding varieties, that is Rhode Island Red. And next comes Plymouth Rock. This is also another crossbreeding variety of the poultry. And Silky. So this is a Silky. These are all the poultry crossbreeding varieties. The third type of the outbreeding, that is interspecific hybridization. What is the meaning of inter? Inter means in between. That is mating between male and female species which are different. They are being mated. This is called as interspecific hybridization. And the progeny carries characters of both the parents, but the offspring is entirely different from the parent. Let's encode an example. Here, a male donkey is crossed with a female horse. Male donkey, this is called as jackass, mated with a female horse, that is a mare, and this leads to the production of a mule, which is sterile. Have you ever listened or seen to the mule, children? Yes. Though it is sterile, it is having a good capacity of labor for draught work and also used by the armies to transport supplies. So, a cross between a male donkey and a female horse gives rise to the mule. There is another cross, children, that is between male horse and female donkey. When male horse is crossed with or mated with a female donkey, it produces hinny. Like a mule, hinny is also sterile, but it is having good economic benefit, and that's why it is being reared and also given good feed regularly. The experiments which are carried out to improve the quality of the animals, these are called as controlling breeding experiments. These are carried out by both inbreeding, outbreeding, and these are being controlled by two methods, that is artificial insemination and that is multiple ovulation embryo transfer methods. So let's see to these controlled breeding experiments. The first one is artificial insemination. Here it is a fertility treatment method that is used to deliver the sperm into the female when there is no chance of pregnancy. This you have already studied in your morning session, students, in your reproductive health said by Satish sir. So here the semen is being collected from a male parent by a veterinary doctor and later manually being deposited into the reproductive part of the female which is being selected. What is livestock? Livestock means, here they are given few options like cattle rearing, pisciculture, silkworm rearing, animals reared by a farmer. Then what is the right answer, children? Yes, animals reared by the farmer, might be raised or used in a farm by a farmer, is called as livestock. So the correct answer is D. Okay, so I was saying about a multiple ovulation embryo transfer, that is semen is being taken out. Okay, semen also contains sperm. This also you have studied in your previous sessions. So this is immediately used, or this is being collected and transported to the rural or urban areas, or even being frozen for the future use. Even if the animal is dead also, this semen can be used in the future. So when you see the advantages, that is over here, it is carried out to overcome the problems of natural breeding, and also a farmer cannot purchase costly animals. So in this situation, artificial insemination is very beneficial, and also animals which we cannot bring them together. So that is a geographical separation. So in such cases also, here this artificial insemination works out in a better way. Then what is the disadvantage? Disadvantages are, that is a less fertility, less success rate, and preserving and transporting the semen is a difficult task. Let's see, that is MOET, multiple ovulation and embryo transfer. So this has been a conventional embryo flush in advanced cattle breeding. Here, cattle that is being administered gonadotropins. What are the gonadotropin hormones, children? They are follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. So these are being injected into the cattle, and over here, that is, they are allowed for natural mating, or that is by the artificial insemination. And by that, many, that is over here, eggs are being produced in the female. This fertilized eggs, these of 8 to 32 celled stage, these are being taken out without surgery and transferred into a selective mother, that is called as a surrogate mother. That is the genetic mother, that is super ovulated mother having good amount of eggs is the genetic mother, and she is also ready for the next round of ovulation. And this increases the herd population of desirable characters in a short span of time. So once again, I repeat, children, multiple ovulation embryo transfer. This has been done in the animals like cows, buffaloes, sheep, etc. That is, gonadotropin hormones are injected and later allowed for mating or insemination. And here, this is the allowed for the culture for 6 to 7 days, and this has been injected into the surrogate mother. And this is widely used in carrying out, that is for cows, buffaloes and sheep. High milk yield varieties of cows are obtained, that is by use of surrogate mothers, superovulation, artificial insemination, all of this. Yes, what is the right answer, children? Yes, we get high milk yielding varieties from surrogate mothers, superovulation, artificial insemination. So the right answer is D. Yes, by which method was a new breed, Hizardale, of sheep formed by using Bicanary Eves and Merino rams? The choices are outcrossing, mutational breeding, crossbreeding, inbreeding. Yes, what is the right answer, children? The right answer is crossbreeding. Already I have said crossbreeding means breeding between different varieties. So here crossing between the two sheep gives rise to the offspring Hizardale. The right answer is C. Next comes, that is poultry management. Over here, when you see, these are the egg laying birds. These are been different varieties like chicken, ducks, turkey birds, geese, pigeons and emu. These are being domesticated and this is called as poultry management. Yes, there are two varieties under this, children. They are layers and broilers. Layers. Egg laying birds are called as layers. These are reared exclusively for the production of eggs. Next comes broilers. Broilers are reared exclusively for chicken meat. The most preferred bird in the poultry industry, that is Gallus domesticus. It is a kind of a domesticated bird that is being reared in many places for meat and egg. This is Gallus domesticus. Let's see into the some more varieties. This is the red jungle fowl of India. That is the common name Gallus gallus. Distributed in India and also seen in Pakistan, China, Singapore. Ceylon jungle fowl, and this is a Sri Lankan jungle fowl. This is endemic in Sri Lanka and this is called as the national bird of Sri Lanka, children. That is Ceylon jungle fowl. And next comes the variety, that is grey jungle fowl. This is the wild ancestor of domestic fowls. The fourth one is Javan jungle fowl. This belongs to Indonesia. So these are a few exotic fowls. When you see in India, poultry started over 5,000 years ago. But for many years, it remained as a household industry. Poultry as an industry started only, that is, in 1950. When you see its position, India ranks third position in egg production and fifth in chicken meat production in 2011. When you take in 2020, the top countries of poultry are USA, Brazil, China, Russia, and India. So this is positions. India is being placed in poultry. B.V. Rao is the father of modern poultry of India. He was the founder chairman of National Egg Coordination Committee. Layers. These female hens, that is, they are being injected with the hormones and also vaccinated regularly. So by this, it gives many eggs every day, and also debecking is done. What is the meaning of debecking? Debecking means a partial removal of the beak in the layer hen is called as debecking. So this will also be asked in your examination, children. So the why debecking is done? That is to minimize the injury. That is, when they are all at one place, there is a chance of fighting and getting injured. So to protect the birds, that is from hurting each other, debecking is done. And the layered birds, that include two stages of development. That is, brooding stage is the first stage. Here, the newly hatched chicks, they are being placed. Actually, they are very delicate children, and they are unable to regulate to the normal body temperature. So these are placed in a special rooms called as brooders. Here the temperature maintained is 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and this period continues for 6 to 8 weeks. Next comes the layer stage, and this is the growing up of the mature females, and they start laying eggs after 22 weeks and continue for 12 to 15 months. So the layer development includes brooding stage and layering stage. This is the white leghorn chicken, and this is another variety, children, that is Rhode Island red, and white, this is the white leghorn chicken. This is a variety of the crossbreed of Italy, and the Rhode Island breed, this is an American breed. So these both are the exotic breeds, and Rhode Island, this is the state bird of Rhode Island. And when you see the important components of poultry management, that is selection of the breed, for any animal husbandry, breed selection is very important. So here, breed like BV300 and Hylin, these are the hybrid layers. And next comes the boilers, that is Hubbard and Wenkop. These I think you are well known. Next comes, after proper selection of the breed, is giving proper shelter. So might be we give shelter in a separate single cage, or in that is a layered cage, or a battery cages. So they should be given a proper shelter, and we should give a good feed to the poultry. And the poultry feed includes, that is bran of rice, bran of wheat, fish meal, bone meal, and green vegetables. And also it includes vitamins and minerals. So good quality feed, when it is given, it gives a good egg production, and also good chicken is also being produced. And this when we see the feed is also being nowadays produced by the fixer, and also that is extractors. They are being introduced, and the feed is being distributed in the cages. When you see the nutritious values of the eggs, here when you see the yolk is having more amount of fat, and when you see the white albumin part is having more amount of protein. When you see the 100 grams of egg contain 13.3% of protein and 11.5% of fats. And when you take 100 grams of chicken, it is having 20% of protein, but only 2.5% of fats. Okay, as it is having high protein value, eggs, and it gives 173 kilocalories of energy. Even the government is producing, it has been providing in the government schools, that is egg thrice in a week, children. And let's see to the diseases the poultry will be getting. And here, if any chicken is infected and it spreads even to the other hens which are been the side of it. And also this is the picture of poultry arthritis that is related to the bone weakening. And this is the avian flu, the bird flu, that is a viral disease infection that is been spreading from one bird to the other. This has been caused by H5N1 virus. This is an influenza virus. So how it is being infected? So this has been infected by touching the contaminated surfaces of the infected birds, and this has been spread from one bird to the other. And due to this, healthy birds are also infected. Not only birds, this is also deadly even to the human. And we can know whether it has been infected or not by collecting the swab from the mouth of the hen. When you see the prevention, that is avoid eating that is undercooked chicken, children. This is harmful. And also always wear mask as you are wearing now in this pandemic situation. And also the infected birds, this should be buried or burned. Which is a bird or animal that is raised in largest scale in the world? Is it goat, sheep, hen, turkey? Yes, the right answer is hen. Which is the chemical that improves brain mental state after eating chicken? The choices are serotonin, thyroid, insulin, dopamine. Yes, everyone will be tempted to eat chicken. They love chicken. So here, serotonin is a chemical that is in the brain that will be affecting the mood. So by eating this type of foods that is high in tryptophan, this increase serotonin chemical in our brain. So serotonin is the right answer, children. Which is a deadly disease affecting chickens, causing a mass extinction? Is it bird flu, cold infection, scaly leg disease, mycoplasma? The right answer is bird flu, also called as avian influenza. What is the technique used to hatch chicken without birth defects during 18 to 21 days? Shaking eggs, heating eggs to 110 Fahrenheit, knocking eggs with less pressure, turning eggs upside down occasionally. The answer is turning egg upside down. Otherwise, the embryo will stick down towards the shell and the birth defects may occur. Which of the following is a high milk yielding variety? That is whether it is currant fries, currant Swiss, Jersey or Murrah. Murrah buffalo, that is this is belonging to Punjab and Haryana states of India. Next, we shall see to the beekeeping, children. Beekeeping is a business in itself, isn't it, children? Yeah, this is a picture depicting the beehive. And this is called as apiculture. Beekeeping is also called as apiculture. And this has been derived from the word apis. Apis means bee. Management of the hives for the protection and collection of honey is called as beekeeping. In the early days, people used to collect honey that is from the natural beehive. Isn't it, children? But it is far from safe. Even a slight error while collecting the honey will cause a great damage to the human life. So nowadays, we are using some different machinery that is called as wooden graters, that is to collect the bees and also honey in an artificial manner. And for a successful beekeeping, we require a healthy breed, and also that is a selection of the beehive. That is we have to find a good location, and we should allow the bee to feed naturally by itself to get a good quality of honey, and collection of the honey by the expertise people are paramount important. Let's see to the local varieties of bees. The first one, Indian bee. This is Apis indica. This is very gentle and this can be domesticated, children. The next is the rock bee, Apis dorsata, and this is the largest bee. The little bee, this is Apis florea, and this is also very gentle and can be domesticated. And this is the Italian bee, Apis mellifera, and this is a European bee. These are the local varieties. What is this, children? This is beehive. Do you know? Beehive is also having a special name. What it is? It is called as apiary. Already you know Apis. That is the generic name of the honeybee. So apiary has come from the Apis name. Then what are the types of the bees, children? So they are queens, workers, and drone. So let's see the first one, queen. This is the queen in the honeybees. This is over here. It will be feed on the royal jelly. This is the only female fertile one living for 5 years and it is able to produce 2000 eggs. And here during the nuptial flight that is followed by the next variety, that is the drone, it will be receiving the sperms. The next variety is the drone. Just see the picture, children. This is the fertile male and this will fertile the queen. We can call this as the king of the colony. This develops from unfertilized egg and it takes 24 days to develop from egg to adult stage. The third variety is the worker bees. These are very small and these are sterile females. And the lifespan is only 2 to 3 months and it is having long proboscis. So there are 3 varieties of bees, children. Queen, that is a female, and a drone, male, and workers. These are sterile female. So let's see to the life cycle. Here, when you see, the queen will be performing nuptial fight and the waggle dance around the drones. Okay, so the drones will follow and undergo copulation. And over here, the drones after copulating, they die by transferring the sperm into the queen. Queen lays unfertilized eggs. After some time, children, the eggs will hatch and the larva will come out. Yes, this larva is being feeded by the worker bees. That is, it is being feeded by the royal jelly for first 5 days. And later, this larva will convert to pupa and later to the adult bees. So this is the life cycle that is it is been performing. Next comes over here the beehive. The development, that is from the egg to the adult, it takes for the worker bee it is 21 days, for the drone bee 24 days, and for the queen bee it is 16 days. And over here, when the hive is completed, the queen will be leaving the beehive. Okay, so before leaving, it will make one of the worker the queen by feeding a royal jelly. So the leaving of the queen from the beehive, this is called as swarming. What it is called, children? Swarming. Swarming means the queen leaving the beehive, making the worker, one of the worker, the queen. What is economic importance of honeybees? Yes, it is giving a good product, that is honey. This is also used for wax, making candles, also useful in making bread and cakes. So this is having a good economic importance. And when you see here the bee keeper, he is removing honey from the honeycomb. Okay, so this removing honey from the honeycomb, this can be done manually or by the centrifugal extraction or by crushing and draining. So this all requires the expertise. So over here, which of the following is the real product of the honeybee? Here the choice is honey, propolis, pollen, bee wax. So don't be mistaken, children, like honey, the right answer is bee wax. Okay, so this is the byproduct of honeybee. Yes, we learn into the next subtopic, fishery management. Fishery, this is an industry or occupation that is devoted. This is for caring, processing, storage of the fishes and also the other aquatic animals. Why are they reared? They are being reared for human consumption. This is called as fishery management, children. And we shall see into the types of fisheries. There are two types, children. They are capture fisheries and culture fisheries. First one, capture fisheries. These are obtained from the natural body of water, like seas. Okay, so if the resource is being captured from the open water, it is called as offshore fishery. Once again, I repeat, children, if we get that is from the open water, that is called as offshore fishery. If we get the resource that is from the coastal water, it is called as inshore fishery. And if we get from the fresh water, it is called as inland fishery. It is called as inland fishery, also that is from estuaries. So capture fisheries, when you see that is from the water, natural water. Here, this is natural development of fish and later they are being captured. The next variety is cultured fish. Here, this is also called as aquaculture, that is a rearing of the fish in tanks and ponds. Okay, so that is we culture the fish for a specific period of time and later we are capturing it. So this is called as culture fishery, also called as aquaculture. Freshwater fishes. So in your IPE examination and also in competitive examinations, they'll be asking, choose the freshwater fish or choose the marine water fish. So let's see the freshwater fishes. Freshwater fishes like katla, rohu, and common carp. So these three are the varieties of freshwater fishes, children. Let's see the marine water fishes like hilsa, Bombay duck, sardine, mackerel, silver pomfret, oil sardine. So these are all varieties that are being grown in the marine water, that is salt water. India occupies, that is the 6th place in the world in the fish production and the first place goes to USA. When you see here, the picture depicts the blue revolution, that is an effort to increase the fish yield in India. This is being started in the year 1960. This is called as Neel Kranti machine and the main persons behind it, they are Dr. Hiralal Chowdhury and Dr. Arun Krishnan. So they have strived a lot to increase the aquaculture in India. So they are known as the fathers of Blue Revolution. Yes, these are all grown in the water, children. What is aquaculture? Culturing of fish and other aquatic organisms is called as aquaculture. Aqua means water, means culturing of the water animals, means not only fish, other aquatic organisms is called aquaculture. What is pisciculture? You have learned in the classification. Pisces means fishes. So culturing of fish or rearing of fish is called as pisciculture. So these are some exotic Chinese carps, children. Common carp, green carp, silver carp. So these are all exotic Chinese carps. And here when you see, this is hypophysation. This is a method of a breeding of the fishes. This is very, very important. Here, when you see the pituitary gland extraction injection is being administered, and this method stimulates the growth, development, maturity, and reproduction. And when this is done where the spawning conditions are not favorable. So here hypophysation is done. When you see the economic importance of fisheries, yes, fisheries are really tasty also, fishes. So it gave a good nutritive value as food. Children, so here this is high in proteins, less in fat. It is having good amount of minerals, rich in vitamins A and D, and rich in iodine. And not only this, when you see here, that is the fishes, that is this is sardine fish, and this is salmon fish, and this is shark. So from these three types of fishes, that is the oils are extracted as a byproduct, children. And these oils, these are very good, cod liver oils. And next comes, this is this carp fish. This is being used for the preparation of fertilizer, also called as fish guana. Fish guana, that is used in the preparation of fertilizers. And here this is the catfish, children. And here from the catfish, the air bladder is being dried to prepare icing glass. This icing glass over here, this is used for the doors, windows, etc. This is very good variety for home decoration also. Then over here, this is the cod salmon, and this skin is very tough. This is tanned and converted into leather. Yes, the fish which eradicate the mosquito larva. What is that fish, children? The choices are gambusia fish, cuttlefish, anabas, rohu. Right answer is gambusia. Gambusia fish, it will be eating the larva present in the water. So it eradicates like many diseases like malaria. So the right answer is A, gambusia. Cod liver oils, this is rich in, already we have learned, children, this is rich in vitamins A and D, A and C, A and B, A and E. The right answer is vitamins A and D. Cultivation of fishes in artificially preparing ponds of water bodies. What it is called, children? Aquaculture, pisciculture, vermiculture, agriculture. We have learned. That is the right answer, pisciculture. Pisces means fishes. Rearing of fishes is pisciculture. Hypophysation is done in major carps. Why? To increase size, to increase their growth, to increase breeding in fisheries, to increase their palatability. So the right answer is to increase breeding in fisheries. That is pituitary, that is extract, it is being injected. So over here, when you see the, you know this person, children, Edward Jenner. So he was the person who has coined vaccines. Vaccination refers to the process that is given to improve immunity against diseases. When you see, that is over here, how he invented the vaccines. So over here, he has selected a place that is where the people were suffering from cowpox. And he has seen that many milkmaids, women are suffering from cowpox, and he has taken or collected pus from a milkmaid woman in the year that is 17, over here 96, and he injected this into the 8-year-old boy. And after a little amount of period of 6 weeks, he inoculated the boy with smallpox and he observed that it did not catch smallpox. Let's see, students, what is a vaccine? What is vaccination? How vaccine works? Why booster doses always in vaccine? In the topic vaccination. Vaccine is a biological preparation. It is containing microorganisms, might be weak or dead microbes. From this, it is being prepared. Let's see the steps in the vaccine preparation. That is over here. First, a antigen is being introduced into the body. And due to this, antibodies are produced and also memory B and T cells are produced. And this memory of immune system, this will protect the body from further infection. In this way, the vaccines are prepared. So just see this pictorial representation. When antigens are introduced into the body, it produces memory cells, T cells and antibodies. So due to the memory of this, that is, it fights against the diseases. So when you see the biotechnologically produced vaccines are classified into two types. That is live vaccines and inactivated one. So these are the attenuated vaccines. These are prepared from the live organism. That is from the living organisms, the vaccines are being prepared. So these types of vaccines are prepared for the diseases like against yellow fever, polio, and also like measles, rubella, etc. Okay, so this is very safe, children. And next comes the vaccine prepared by killing the organisms by heat or chemicals. These are when injected into the body, this will stimulate the active immunity. So here, this is inactivated killed vaccine. This is also safe, but generally less effective, children, than the attenuated live vaccine. So this vaccine is for against the diseases like cholera, Salk polio, and also like when you see hepatitis A, B, and rabies. Next comes the third variety, that is toxoids. So here some organisms contain exotoxins. So they are detoxicated and used in the preparation of vaccine. So these are toxoids, children, and these are really very effective and very safe. And the vaccines against the deadly diseases like diphtheria and also tetanus and pertussis, here these toxoids are being used. And how they are being inoculated into the body here. So when you see the success of the vaccines, to how much we are successful, when you see from, that is Edward Jenner, smallpox was completely eradicated, isn't it, children? And not only that, polio vaccine is also very effective and immunity is being maintained for a short period for cholera vaccine, 3 to 5 years for DPT vaccine, 5 or more years, that is BCG vaccine, 10 years yellow fever, and solid immunity for measles, mumps, and rubella, MMR. So over here, that is then the inoculation place where the vaccine is being given. So here they are classified into three types. First one, that is intradermal, means it has been introduced into the skin. That is the vaccines given for BCG and rabies. And subcutaneous. Subcutaneous means between dermis and epidermis, that is under the skin for the measles, mumps, influenza, and rubella. So that is a subcutaneous, children, that is being given for the various diseases. Next comes the variety, that is intramuscular. This is given inside the muscle, that is given for the against the diseases of hepatitis A, B, and tetanus. So children, till now we have learned about the various aspects of animal husbandry, that is dairy farm management, animal breeding, poultry management, fisheries, and also we have learned about beekeeping and vaccines, the steps in developing the vaccines, etc. Let's see to the questions expected for IPA examination. Write the steps involved in multiple ovulation embryo transfer. Discuss in brief about avian flu. Honeybees are economically important. Justify. What are the various methods employed in animal breeding to improve livestock? So these are the various attributes which I have taken for my preparation of the webinar. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, madam. I thank additional director, joint directors of model schools, and also coordinator Vijay Lakshmi madam, Shailaja madam, my principal Srinivas sir, and also Satish sir, and also all the principals who supported me, and also my supporting friends. I thank one and all for giving me this golden opportunity.
Thank you, Prashanti ma'am. Children, please hear there are so many revolutions in India, isn't it? Ma'am has conveyed us so many revolution. White revolution. Do you know Amul? I mean Amul dairy industry. Do you know what is the full form of Amul? Do you know? It is Anand Milk Union Limited. It like ma'am what she told about the Varghese father of white revolution. He was the chairman and he also worked as general manager too. He is the person who brought white revolution. And many revolutions ma'am told, isn't it, about the blue revolution, isn't it? Silver revolution is nothing but about egg and poultry. And red revolution is nothing but about the meat. Okay, so all this revolution, even green revolution. So why all these revolutions, especially we have to learn? Think why we have to learn. See, India is the largest country, isn't it? It has to be self-sustained by all means, isn't it? The self-sustaining industry makes the rural employment and it adds more income to the rural people. So automatically the India will grow. It's not like that you have to do job on under someone. You can become the entrepreneurs and you can start your own industry and you can mint money and you can help in growing the country. Okay? Okay. Next time we'll come with the other technologies where the biology is applied. Okay. I think next session ma'am will continue with the other part. So children, please revisit the channel and make a running notes and revise the lesson thoroughly. Okay. Have a great day, children. Good day. Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, madam.